So this is Fire Pirate Outdoors' first season recap
Ever.
Never done this
All
before.
the seasons, both of them.
You just keep hunting and just keep posting, and it
Keep
never
posting,
ends.
never ends. The
It's
endless
just
season.
it's just a cycle that
Yeah.
just keeps going. Where are you going from this? Going to just go straight into Pigeons Land?
I hope so. That's the plan. The plan is to shoot as many birds as possible. Get the dog on birds.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did your season go? Scale of 1 to 10.
I don't know. So it's all relative. Like, if I was hunting back east, I had the most outstanding season I've ever had. But if you're talking about the upper Midwest, it was, I would say, mediocre.
Any specific hunts or anything? Just the overall number of birds, or just the hunting?
Yeah, we had no birds.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
there
it
was no water, so there was no birds. No birds, no water.
Yeah, and I kind of got the feeling that there was the same number of hunters that are here every year, which
Yep.
is
Bunch of outstanders.
a lot, right?
Yeah.
All hunting for a fourth of the birds.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so normally, easily.
Yeah,
Easily a fourth,
where
like,
we-
or more than that.
yeah, so where we usually spend our time scouting in the evenings, you come across 1 or 2 pickups on the 4, 5, 6 feeds you go to check out and race around to just kind of keep tabs on. Where this year around, there was like
2 feet.
2 feeds, and there was 7 pickups at each one.
Yeah.
All
Everybody
looking from
knew where both feeds were.
Yeah, everybody knew who each hunter was. It
Yeah.
wasn't a secret after the first couple of weeks. Like,
No.
we all
You're
knew.
like, oh,
Yeah.
it's the Ohio boys. Oh, yeah, they're
Yeah.
there. Great. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, no, I hunted a lot more days than I probably wanted to. Because people are here, they're in town, they're only here for so many days.
Yep. So when they're here, you're gonna hunt.
Right.
Regardless
if it's, if
Yep.
these aren't great conditions, we shouldn't be going out. But we still had a good time.
Mhm.
I had to switch gears to a lot more upland this year. Yeah. 19 was a nice wet year.
Yep.
And we shot a lot of waterfowl. Barely any upland that year. This year we had to switch up to upland. So now I need to buy an upland dog. I really like the retriever. Kind of sold on the retriever.
I like not having to go wade out in the water to
See?
get the
See what
dog.
I'm saying?
I do enjoy that.
Yeah.
A few of the hunts we had this year, even though the overall season was kind of lackluster.
Yeah,
If
mediocre.
you-
less than awesome.
Yep.
Yeah.
But if you narrowed it down to just the above average hunts
Mm-hmm.
that we had a few of,
Mm-hmm.
you could, if those were the only things you took into consideration, there were some of the better hunts we've ever had.
Yes.
You know, with the hunt we had with Steve and
The Specks and Snows.
your wife
That was-
Tanya
Yeah.
and the two of us on
Yeah.
those Specks and Snows that first night Steve got here was just crazy.
Yeah, I was so happy with that. Like,
Yeah.
we didn't limit, but I didn't even care. I was just like,
Yeah,
we'd been struggling so hard before that. And just,
what did we end up? We ended up with 22 geese, 22, 23 geese, something like
22.
that.
I think it was 18. No, we hit 15 on the Specks, and then we went 8.
And we had like
eight
7 or
bonus.
8.
23.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
23.
it was-
Maybe. Yeah,
yeah.
it was plenty.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a heck of a good hunt.
Yeah.
That made up for a lot of miles and a lot of effort because they just seemed to. We only had a couple that were really committed
Mm-hmm.
on that, but they seemed to work well enough. Like it seemed like every group worked just enough, but they were still kind of peeling off.
At
the end, like
35.
yeah,
they would
right.
hit that thing and they would have all. You
Yep.
could tell when they weren't unhappy.
Yep.
But they were coming.
But-
and then 30 to 40, they were like, something's not right, and you'd see them.
Yeah, but they didn't. They didn't bust until they were usually within range.
Yeah.
So
you could pull 1 or 2 birds
Yep.
per person out of
Yep.
them if everybody hit what they were shooting at.
one thing we didn't get any footage of because I'm a slacker and didn't have an SD card in. That we used on that hunt that I think helped that we never used before is we used a drone on that one. That's
Pre-hunt.
that was
as soon as
it
we
was an
got.
afternoon hunt
Yeah.
and we set up midday
Yeah.
and before we packed up and moved pickups back to the road, we took a look at it with the drone,
And we noticed corners on the
this
on the
weird
layouts.
straight line squared like it looked like a really bad decoy spray.
And we thought we had them brushed in good.
Yeah, we thought we looked good, and it was like, oh wow, yeah, no, we need to.
So we had to
fix
soft.
that.
Once we softened the edges, it looked a lot better.
Yeah, that was that. I think next year, that's something that would help a lot, especially for the afternoon hunts where we can get it up in the air
Mm-hmm.
during the day in the light and get a look and go, oh, what are the geese seeing when they come in?
Yeah.
You know, I got to participate in another hunt that me and Chad scouted
The
that
duck
turned out to be
Yeah.
one of the banger hunts of the year.
Mm.
That started out as negative 25,
Mm-hmm.
miserable cold,
Mhm.
very little intel other than at the time we got there the day before there were already ducks, so we didn't really know when they were getting there. We just knew ducks are here, they're using this field. A lot of 5, 6, 5, 7, 8,000 ducks. A
Well,
lot
we were
of
looking
ducks.
for geese, and there were like 150, 200 geese in there too.
Yep, there was a good little squad of geese, but what caught our eye is mallards.
Yeah.
Lots of green.
Yeah.
But we had no idea when they were getting there, and we didn't really have any background on how to approach it, and we didn't have very many available days to hunt it. We had that next day. That was all the inland order gave us permission, which was good enough for us, right?
Yeah.
So we decided, regardless, that was probably 1 in the afternoon, not knowing when they're getting there.
We found it 1 in the afternoon. We had no idea when they were going to come out the
Yep.
next day. So we
So it
said,
was-
let's go in the morning.
And
in the dark.
And if we just got to sit and wait, then we're going to sit and wait.
28 below. This was a good plan.
Yeah, 25 to 28 below, miserable cold. But something happened that day.
I didn't get to go. I was driving to here, actually, this exact spot. And my truck just turned off.
The rendezvous point was here.
Yep.
You,
Yep.
myself.
Yep.
You showed up
Without
But-
my truck.
without a pickup.
Yeah.
You were
Just
missing
one truck.
missing one vehicle.
We're supposed to have 3 trucks here, and 2 trucks made it here because
Yep.
my motor blew up.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I got to get my truck back to a shop. And turns out the ducks came out so late that I could have got the truck to the shop and made it to the hunt. But I was so discouraged by that point. I was just like, you guys go have fun.
Me and Mike went and we sat in the field until about 10:30, 11, and maybe around that 11
I
or
don't
10,
know.
10
I
11
wasn't
o'clock.
there. I didn't get to go.
We were in the field a solid 3-4.5 hours. I don't know how long. So long I could not have pulled the trigger if I wanted to. It was so
It was cold that day.
bitter, miserably cold.
I'm not going to say super weak, but that did have a little
That-
factor on me. Like, I'll just go home.
That one was brutal. So we went back to pick up, and finally, hey, we got to warm up. And when we start seeing birds fly, we'll run back out here. We got to sit in the pickup for about an hour and a half,
Just long enough to warm
long
up.
enough to thoroughly warm back up.
Yeah.
And then ducks started coming, and they didn't come much earlier than what me and you scouted the day before. We must have just got there
As they were
shortly
getting
after they had come
Yeah.
in to feed because it was an afternoon deal.
Mm.
But they came in and they freaking rained down on us. It was unbelievable. There was not a single duck outside of the mallard in thousands and thousands of ducks. I know that because they landed and walked amongst our decoys and our blinds after we had limited out and were sitting there waiting for geese.
Just mallards.
That never came.
Yeah.
We saw one solitary goose, and that was one lone specklebelly that I'm certain believed he was a duck.
Yeah.
And he beelined it at us, and I didn't
Because-
even think about it until Mike said, "Hey, shoot that goose," and we pulled up. So we ended up with our 10 mallards, and had I not been so trigger happy on the last duck, it'd have been 10 drakes.
Yeah.
We ended up 9 drakes and a hen, and one actually pretty nice speck.
I'm not hens, drakes, whatever, dude.
But I was stoked. That was an epic hunt. We tried to hunt it again the following day. There was already another group coming to hunt and had permission. Oh well, we got to have a knockout. That was awesome. That's the best field duck hunting I've had since 19.
I've not shot a duck in a field since 19. I hope to change that next fall, but no, that's not true because we got
a couple randoms last year.
We got a couple randos on that hunt that turned terrible with Steve because it rained on us all day.
You didn't get skunked. We shot 5 ducks. Everybody in the group shot a duck.
Yep.
We worked way too hard in horrible weather.
Mm-hmm.
We just kind of did everything wrong, and then the geese still never even gave us a look.
No.
And it wasn't even they
wasn't
came
like the 40, 60, 100 yard like and they flared.
No, they just flew to another section.
Yeah,
They're just like, hey. When we left, I found the geese again 2 miles down the road.
And they were down. They jumped feeds on us.
Yep, jump feeds. Jumping feeds, you know. You had your friend Nick here.
Yeah, Nick and Alex.
Nick and Alex came out. We did a swan hunt, and we got to see old Rockman hammer his swan at refuge.
This is probably the most. I don't know if it's discouraging.
It was kind of an eventful year for things that just impressively disappointed you, right? Like, man. I had my buddy Jeremy out here first few days of the season. He comes out almost every year, and buffleheads. We slaughtered buffleheads and some teal, and I had a heck of a good time on that. Shooting buffleheads in the rain. I would gladly sit and shoot those little rocket ships all day long.
Yeah,
I like shooting them. You know,
my last bufflehead hunt was in Maine, and I went through 3 boxes of shells to kill two. Yeah, two ducks. Great. I had a great time. I didn't even care.
Yeah,
I had a great time.
Had a lot of fun.
I was like 3 feet behind the whole day.
It was a struggle to find a duck using the river this year.
And then it froze.
Like that.
Wow. So our season was cut short by the weather, not by the actual calendar.
Not once did we ever get on a big Canada goose feed. Canada geese were not a huge thing. We busted out Canada's one time, and that was to duck hunt over on that cornfield.
Yep.
That field duck hunt.
Yep.
We ran the shells and full bodies and a couple spinners in the field, and I think if we would have just put one spinner in front of us, I think we'd have done the exact. Oh, right. They wanted to be there. Right. There were 5-yard circles of just melted snow 8 down to the ground, and they were just gorging themselves on shelled out corn there. Yeah. We could have just laid in the irrigation rut and probably still shot a limited ducks.
Wow.
You know? It was one of those things. Should have been there.
I wish. I want to talk about memorable hunts. There was the double speck day, where we set up. There were geese across the street road from my house. I had permission to get on them.
Thousands of ducks.
Thousands of geese and ducks.
Just
nobody had bothered them for 2 days, which is rare because there was only 2 feeds going on, and they were getting hunted every day.
Harassed on a daily basis.
Yeah. And they came 2 days in a row, and I got permission, and I got in there, and we set up, and everything looked good, and we were like, it's a pea field, so there's nowhere to hide, so we just put a bunch of decoys around us.
Laid on the ground.
And the ducks just went over to another field.
But they just left.
A speck came in,
and then
I shot it.
Lonely speck come, hit the deck, honking, straight at us.
Yep.
Coming from the right, we're laying side by side. I'm on the left, he's on the right. And Chad gets up and dispatches him pretty efficiently. We were fortunate to have one more come in. The
second one that's the one that was impressive. Because it comes in, same deal, and I'm like, all right, well, I already shot one. Who knows how many we're going to get? It doesn't look like we're going to get a lot. So you better shoot this one. So you sit up and your gun goes click. So I'm like, oh, well, he's out of the game. I'm going to help him. So I used to go to sit up, and you've racked another shell in your gun, and you're like going away. So I just sat back down. I'm like, he doesn't want any help. I'll just let him do it. And that one went click. So now the bird is like, something has happened in the decoys. I don't like any of this. And he's like, I'm leaving.
He's on the way out. He's
every
getting it.
every bit of 45 yards. And you rack in your last shell, and you're like, wham! And it went off. And that bird was dead. And I was like, that's impressive. Just stick with it that long.
Just keep racking them and going.
Yeah, and then make the shot at the end. Yeah. I was impressed.
That was the shot. So I switched over to Boss shells this year. I'm by no means the extremist fanboy, but I used to shoot Black Cloud.
I think we got some.
Yep.
Oh, here it is.
Grab a box.
All right. Oh, the good stuff.
Oh, the good stuff. My baby girl there.
Yeah.
Right? I used to shoot Black Cloud 3-inch, nothing special. 3-inch, number 2, ounce and a quarters, 1450s, just your standard go-to for everything in existence. Like, if you needed a waterfowl snap for it, this is what I used. And I was happy with it.
Yeah.
Like you had been shooting Boss, and we talked about going to different things or trying something different, and I just.
If it works for you, why not?
Yeah, it was working. I was killing a lot of geese with it, and I was happy.
Yeah.
And then when I went to buy another case this year, the price of Black Cloud was way higher than I was comfortable with.
Right.
After seeing the price ammunition had done. But Boss hadn't taken as big of a price hike as everybody else. So
your price per shot wasn't as
it
huge
was
of a
getting
difference.
the difference. The gap was closing in. I
Right.
thought, well, you know what? I'll give it a shot. So we went to
Oh, do you have them?
Yep.
I call them swan loads.
The good old swan loads.
He shoots these monster things.
So I went to my theory was, well, if I'm gonna pay a little bit more,
you want a lot more punch.
I want it to be equally as good or better.
Well, what's better?
So I went with the 3-inch, number 3, ounce and 5/8. Their Magnum load.
It just sounds painful.
You know, and I was really impressed at how far you could reach out and hit a goose. If you can hit it, you know, you've got a pretty good chance of bringing it down.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I don't know how far you would shoot, and we don't really shoot that far. I mean our distance, our like long shots
are 45.
pushing 45, 50 yards.
Yeah.
That's like
50. Yeah.
way out there for us.
Yeah.
You know, we're usually more like that 25 to 35, right?
That's where we like them.
Yep, that's where we want to shoot them.
But they don't always give you that.
They don't always give you that.
Some days they give you 35, 40.
Yep.
All day. That's all you get.
And I know that the Black Cloud can do everything that I'm doing with these at the ranges we're shooting, but I don't have nearly as many cripples.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't chase down and spend 5 more shells trying to dispatch a running goose anymore.
Nope.
Right? They usually hit the ground pretty dead.
Yeah,
So
Ruger's a little bit sad.
Yeah, he doesn't get to do as much
He doesn't get
running.
to work out as much.
Yeah, he doesn't get to run as much when we're not shooting steel. So I'll probably keep shooting it. I don't shoot nearly as many shells. We were counting up the other day our shots per bird or whatever.
Yeah, I want to keep track of that next year really well.
Yeah, and I am damn near at 50%, and I'm real happy with that.
Yeah, I think I'd like to get under 50%, but I've never really paid attention to it.
Yep. No,
I've always been like, oh look, I went through 10 boxes of shells instead of like my bird to shell ratio, which I'm gonna really transition to.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care how many ducks I kill next year. I just want my bird to shell ratio.
The only thing I wish they did a little different with the Boss is I wish the canvas bags were a little cheaper.
Oh, to buy one?
Yeah.
Well, you just have to buy a case.
You get a case of shells, you get a canvas bag.
Yeah.
And then they have all sorts of other different designs, and I
you
get bougie, and I want to have them all.
You get sucked into the marketing.
I get sucked into that marketing ploy, and I end up paying wild prices for a piece of canvas dipped in wax, right? So, Shout out to Boss. Good job on the marketing because you got us.
Yeah.
We're those guys.
Yeah.
But
So that's pretty much our season recap. Yeah, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next season.